You have probably noticed both of these things but never connected them. When you are sick, genuinely physically unwell, your cat disappears. It is somewhere in the house but not near you, not on the bed where you are lying, not on the couch where you have been all day. You reach for it and it is not there. And in the misery of being ill, you add this small absence to everything else that feels wrong. But when you are sad, when something has happened and you are sitting quietly with that weight on you, your cat is there within minutes. On your lap, pressed against your side, staying close in a way it does not on ordinary days. Same animal, same house, same owner. Two completely opposite responses to two situations that from the outside might look similar. Most people assume their cat is being inconsistent or indifferent during illness and unusually intuitive during sadness. The reality is that both responses are consistent, both are deliberate, and both make complete sense once you understand what your cat is actually detecting in each situation and what its instincts tell it to do with that information. Today we are going through exactly why these two responses are different, what your cat is reading in each situation, and what both behaviors together reveal about how sophisticated your cat's model of you actually is. By the end of this video, both responses are going to make complete sense. Start with illness, because this is the response that feels like rejection, and it is the one that needs the most reframing. When you are physically sick, your body is producing a significantly different chemical profile than it does on a healthy day. Your immune system is active, your hormonal balance has shifted, your body temperature may be elevated, and the compounds your skin and breath produce reflect all of these changes in ways that are detectable to a nose with 200 million scent receptors processing information through two separate olfactory systems simultaneously. Your cat knows something is different about you before you have said a word about how you feel. The chemical information arriving through your scent tells it that your biological state has changed in a meaningful way. And here is the piece most owners never consider. In the wild, an animal that smells wrong is an animal that may be compromised. A compromised individual in a social group can attract predators. It changes the risk calculation for everyone nearby. Your cat's response to your altered scent during illness is not rejection. It is a deeply instinctive risk assessment running below the level of social bond and conscious choice. The nervous system is flagging your changed biological state as something that warrants caution and distance, the same way it would flag an unfamiliar scent in the territory. The social bond does not disappear. It is simply being overridden temporarily by something older and more automatic. Dr. John Bradshaw, whose research on feline behavior is foundational in the field, has documented that cats show measurable behavioral changes in response to significant alterations in their owner's scent profile. Withdrawal and increased environmental monitoring are among the most common responses, particularly in cats with strong territorial instincts alongside their social bond. If your cat has disappeared specifically when you were physically ill and returned to normal the day you started feeling better, drop a comment below. The timing tracks the scent change more precisely than most people realize. The second layer explains why sadness produces the opposite response, and the contrast is what reveals how differently your cat processes emotional versus physical information. When you are sad, your body is also producing a different chemical profile. Stress hormones, cortisol, changes in your breathing pattern, micro shifts in your vocal tone and body language that happen below the threshold of conscious control. But this combination of signals does not read as a biological threat to your cat's instinctive system. It reads as social distress in a bonded individual. This distinction is everything. Physical illness triggers the threat distance response. Emotional distress triggers the proximity response. Your cat is not making a conscious choice to comfort you. It is responding to a specific category of signal with the behavioral program that signal has always been associated with, which is moving toward a distressed member of the social group. Research published in the journal Animal Cognition has found that cats respond to human emotional distress signals with increased affiliative behavior toward their bonded owner specifically, not towards strangers showing the same signals. The response is relationship specific, which tells you it is not a general reaction to distress in the environment, but a targeted response to distress in someone your cat has identified as its person. A 2015 study from the University of Oakland documented that cats read their owner's emotional state through a combination of facial expression, vocal tone, and body language and adjust their behavior accordingly. Sadness produces a specific combination of these signals that your cat has learned to associate with you specifically over months and years of observation. The third piece is about what your cat is actually doing when it stays close during your sadness, because most owners experience it as passive presence, and it is more active than that. When your cat presses against you during emotional distress, it is not simply sitting nearby. Physical contact with a cat produces measurable reductions in cortisol in humans. Oxytocin is released through contact. The purring that often accompanies this closeness operates at a frequency between 25 and 150 Hz that has documented effects on the human nervous system, including reduced heart rate and lowered blood pressure. Your cat staying close when you are sad is not just emotionally comforting in a vague sense. It is producing specific neurochemical changes in your body that move you toward calm. Whether your cat understands this mechanism is not the point. The behavior produces a real physiological effect, and it does so consistently enough that researchers studying the cat-human bond have begun describing it as functional emotional support rather than incidental proximity. Pam Johnson-Bennett, who has written extensively on feline social behavior, describes this category of response as cats functioning as physiological regulators for their bonded humans. The presence, the contact, the purring, all of it is doing something measurable to your body, while your cat sits there apparently doing nothing. Has your cat stayed with you through something genuinely difficult and seemed to know not to leave even when it would normally wander off? Tell me in the comments. The fourth dimension involves the specific signals your cat is reading differently in each situation, and why the distinction between them matters. Illness and sadness produce overlapping signals. You are still, you are quiet, your normal activity level has dropped, your emotional availability has changed. From a distance, these situations look similar, but the chemical information is different in ways your cat's olfactory system distinguishes clearly. Illness produces immune response compounds, elevated body temperature signatures, and metabolic byproducts associated with cellular stress. These are the signals that trigger the instinctive distance response. Sadness produces stress hormones and cortisol, but does not produce the immune response compounds that flag biological compromise. The social distress signal is present without the biological threat signal, so the social response activates without the threat distance overrides suppressing it. Your cat is running a more sophisticated chemical analysis of your state than you are running consciously. You know you are sick or sad because you feel it. Your cat knows which one it is from across the room before you have said anything, moved any particular way, or given it any signal you would recognize as informative. The fifth piece is the one that makes both responses feel different once you hold them together. These two opposite behaviors are not inconsistencies in your cat's relationship with you. They are evidence of how detailed and how accurate the model your cat has built of you actually is. It distinguishes between two states that produce overlapping behavioral signals and responds to each one with a different and appropriate program. It moves away from biological threat and toward social distress. It reads the difference between your body being compromised and your heart being heavy. Your cat knows you well enough to tell the difference between the days when it should stay away and the days when it should stay close, and it acts on that distinction every time without being asked. Two opposite behaviors. One consistent message. Your cat has been paying close attention to you all along. If this explains something that confused you for years, share it with someone who has experienced both sides of this. And subscribe, because next week we are going into why your cat meows back when you talk to them.